Hi, and welcome to another episode of About the Authors TV. I'm your host, Jake Brown. It's rare that a first time author is invited on Good Morning America to discuss their book's release, but in the case of acclaimed classical music violinist Brendan Slocumb with The Violin Conspiracy, that's precisely what happened, becoming a GMA Book Club pick, along with ranking as one of the best mystery books of the year on the Washington Post list, adding in their own critical reverie of this debut that it was no small accomplishment, musing that The Violin Conspiracy is so wonderfully written, especially its descriptions of music, that at times I question whether I was reading or listening to a concert. This novel, which will keep readers on the edge of their seats until the very last page, is sure to be a favorite of 2022. The New York Times promised it was such a page turner that the scope of the story included a musical cleverly contained within a literary thriller. Slocumb is a natural. Ranked among Goodreads' most anticipated mysteries and thrillers, Medium's most exciting book releases of the year, and making Pop Sugar's list of 35 must-read thrillers and mystery books to keep you chasing clues, Book Riot's the 15 best new mystery books, becoming a Publisher Weekly top 10 mystery thriller. He's here today to talk about his head-turning entree into overnight literary stardom and his forthcoming symphony of secrets. Brendan, welcome and thanks so much for being here. We often kick off these conversations talking about when storytelling first inspired an author. For you, it was actually music, and quite young, we understand.
I started at age 9 through a public school music program. And when the first time I held a violin, I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I've made it. I'm in the big time now. I couldn't play a thing, but I knew I had a violin. I would listen to classical music on the weekends. That's when it was played in North Carolina where I was growing up. And I remember hearing a Dvorak string quartet. I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard. I heard the Mendelssohn Concerto for the first time, and this was like, well, one of these days I'm going to play this stuff. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. And I worked, and it was fun, and it was cool, and I loved it, and I've loved it ever since.
Your gift with the instrument led to a quite impressive resume, playing with the Washington Metropolitan Symphony, the McLean Symphony, the Prince George's Philharmonic, and the Alexandria Symphony, among others. And currently you serve as concertmaster for the Nova Annandale Symphony Orchestra. What have been a few of your favorite highlights from that quite distinguished musical biography?
I went to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, and I was a music education major. But my teacher, who was phenomenal, didn't matter if you were an ed major or performance major. She made sure that every one of us could play and could play well. That I think the goal was to have people not even realize that you were an education major. We all were on the same level of playing. We all just played, trained as soloists. And you get out and you take every gig that is offered to you. And I've played in tons of orchestras, and I've gotten to play with some amazing people. And I think the highlight is I got to play under Leonard Slatkin when I was in grad school. And I played with Stevie Wonder not too long ago in Charlottesville, Virginia. You have 16,000 people, and that was an amazing experience. And it's all because I picked up the violin at age 9. It's good stuff. And I've gotten to travel. I've gotten to meet a ton of people, and it's a lifesaver.
Now, Verse, a nonfiction memoir, you exploded onto the literary scene in 2021 with a fiction book. 2021 with The Violin Conspiracy, where Ebony would compliment the way you took art and imitated life in a spellbinding first novel that melds classical music, the mystery surrounding a stolen violin, and history too, by way of some troubling insights into our nation's painful legacy of slavery. Had you tried your hand in any novel writing previous to this wildly successful first effort?
I've always enjoyed writing. I'm a songwriter in a band. And the first couple of songs are terrible. Everything rhymes, and it gets better as you go along. And when I always enjoyed writing. I wrote a science fiction book 20 years ago, which was absolutely, the story is great, but the writing was horrible, absolutely horrible. I go back and read it now, and I just cringe. I'm going to rewrite it one of these days. It's a good story. You get your rejections, and it's like, okay, well, I'll just put that one aside. And 2020 came along, and you sit on the couch and eat all day because you can't go outside. I was like, yeah, I got to do something. So
The Washington Post was an instant fan of what they praised as an engaging and suspenseful story about an aspiring musician and his great grandfather's violin. noting within its pages that Slocumb is equally adept at suspense, whether he's conveying the tick-tock of the main mystery or the heart-pounding, fist-clenching realities Ray has to face as a young black man in America. This novel will keep readers on the edge of their seats to the very last page. Is it true that you pulled somewhat autobiographically from your own family's history as you began writing?
The story for the Violent Conspiracy was actually, I've been carrying it around for, since I was 9 years old. The majority of it is autobiographical. I live vicariously through the main character Ray, and some of the events that take place in his life, but a lot of it is based on my true life experiences.
So did you actually go up into the attic one day and find the Stradivarius?
That part is a little made up. The grandmother, Grandma Nora, is my actual grandmother, and she's a very sweet woman. The whole premise behind the story is, when I was in high school, I had a violin, a 1953 Eugene Lehman violin that was stolen, and just having to experience that type of loss is just, it sticks with you for the rest of your life. And if I ever get it back, I will be a happy guy, but I'm not anticipating getting it back.
Grandma Nora, who finds the violin in the book, is one of the most instantly lovable supporting cast characters readers meet here. Was she based on your own grandma?
Yes, she was my actual grandma, and as I was writing her dialogue, I could just feel her over my right shoulder, just talking into my ear. Her voice, everything, down to the pink and green rollers in her hair. That was her.
Drawing on your own talent and professional background as an acclaimed classical music musician and bringing Ray's music to life on the page, National Public Radio would find themselves impressed with the way you imbue your character's life with so much authenticity in the details. Details that anyone who has played a stringed instrument or played in a professional ensemble will recognize. What does it feel like when you're writing about playing an instrument on the page? That seems a really complex language to translate from oral and felt to written so convincingly that it can actually be heard by the reader.
It was really interesting because, like you said, knowing the terminology and everything, I would just, at the first draft, I put everything down on the page that I knew, and it made perfect sense to me and my musician friends. They were like, yeah, okay, yeah. And for non-musicians, they're like, this is a foreign language, I have no idea what this means. Oh, okay, well, I should probably tailor this to non-musicians who have no idea what I'm talking about. So that's where a lot of the imagery came from, and the metaphors, when the descriptions of the music were taking place. I mean, I had to do something because it would have just limited the scope of who could understand it, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted it to be for everyone. So yeah, a lot of reworking and imagery and metaphors took place. I think one of my favorites was, there's a scene where Ray is playing a Mozart sonata, and his girlfriend asks him to play it a little slower. He's like, yeah, okay, you're right. I'll see. My teacher said to play it this way, but I'll take your suggestion. And one of the, it was, I think I described it as Cupid's, zipping from cloud to cloud. And if he played it slower, they didn't have to zip across. They could just kind of hop playfully from one cloud to another. And it's like, all right, yeah, that was a good one. I like that one. That was cool.
The New York Times was impressed with the way you easily conjured the thrill of mastering a tough musical passage and the tinnitus-like torture of everyday racism. How much of your own life did you pour into what became such an effective and affecting reading experience?
Everything that the protagonist Ray goes through in the story, a lot of it is based on my own experiences. The wedding scene, that really happened, and the Baton Rouge scene, that really happened. And the only thing that really did not take place was me competing in the Tchaikovsky competition. So I'll just live that through Ray, and we'll see if he wins or not if you read the book. I mean, it's just the fact that I have a book with a protagonist whose name is Raekwon. That's huge. And it was a fight in the beginning. It's like, I can't sell a book with a protagonist named Raekwon. It's like, well, that's exactly why you need to, because it's things like that. It really is a new era, and I am just thrilled to be a part of it. It's crazy. It's good stuff. It's great for me.
Is Raekwon's name by chance a Wu-Tang reference?
Raekwon was one of my former students when I was teaching in Pennsylvania. But no, if we're talking Wu-Tang, I'm definitely a Method Man guy.
Being your first mystery, did you have a pretty clear idea on how you wanted it to end, or did you struggle with several ways it could have wrapped up?
Not really, not really. No, 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 no. It was, it was just kind of laid out. I was like, all right, I just want to. I wanted everything to be consistent and from the heart. So no, it wasn't a struggle.
Did the violin conspiracy reveal itself to you right away, or did you have other titles you were playing around with, so to speak?
I actually I've been doing a lot of traveling for the book, and the last trip I took, I was in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago. That's the only time I did not have to take my violin. It's been with me to Dallas and to New York and to Philly, and
To then go from finishing the book to selling it and then winding up on Good Morning America all in a row. Wow. Now, you've been applauded and appreciated by audiences as a musician. What does it feel like to receive such high accolades as an author, especially your first book out?
it's still insane. I when I wrote this, I just wanted someone to enjoy the story. It wasn't, yeah, I want to go and write this big hit that's going to do all these amazing things. No, none of that. I just wanted someone to enjoy it. And every time I get a compliment or someone reads it and gives it a fantastic review, or someone writes to me and says, I really enjoyed this, that's all validation. It's great. It's a lot of it because it's my own personal story. And I've said for years, this is just crazy stuff that someone's going to enjoy hearing about this one of these days. And I'm glad that it's gotten the reception that it has. It's been amazing, and I'm truly, truly grateful. I am still smiling. My cheeks are completely sore from smiling all the time. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And when I say that I'm 100% grateful for it, I can't express that enough. I never in my wildest dreams would have imagined any of this would have been happening. So, I'm loving every second of it. This is really cool. I'm digging it.
Now, we have to imagine your performing skills as a musician were called upon in the course of promoting this book's release.
I've been doing a lot of traveling for the book, and the last trip I took, I was in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago. That's the only time I did not have to take my violin. It's been with me to Dallas and to New York and to Philly, and I'm always playing. I actually played in Virginia not too long last month. I did a thing in Virginia, a talk and a concert, and it's cool, because I'm a violinist. I play. It's fine. But yeah, it's nice to not have to travel with the fiddle because it's just something else I have to be extra cautious about.
Symphony of Secrets. What a fantastic title. Please reveal a bit for fans about the musical mystery they'll be unraveling with you here.
It's a fantastic story. I'm really excited about it. Totally different vein from Violent Conspiracy. So it's really interesting. And just a quick elevator pitch. It's the you don't have to be a musician to get it. It's not music overkill. The America's best composer. He's bigger than Mozart and Beethoven, everyone. His 150th anniversary celebration is coming up, and his family, who runs his foundation, has hired a musicologist to do some research to, just put the final touches on his celebration, see why he was so close to the Black community. And during his research, the musicologist discovers, this guy may not have written any of his music, and it may have been appropriated from a Black woman who we now know would be living with autism. And the family will stop at nothing to keep that a secret. One of the main characters is just a genius at what they do. And, it's evident throughout the story. And as the story progresses, you're like, okay, well, is this going to show up? Is this person going to get credit? Is it going to happen? Now it's going to happen. Now it's going to happen. No, doesn't happen yet. Doesn't happen yet. And, and one of the really interesting things is why it really doesn't happen when you think that it should. And it's basically, it's a choice that someone is making. They think that they're doing the right thing for the right reasons. In their own head, it makes perfect sense. But, in reality, to everyone else, it's like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? And, it's very relatable, I think, to a lot of people. One of the main characters, they're basically four main characters, two in the past and two in the present. I love doing these dual chronology things. And just one character is like, all right, he's going to be this, and he's going to be this, and he's this, and he's this. But with the introduction of his counterpart, it's just like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And I wanted so badly for, this guy to be the hero and for him to be the smart one. And it just didn't work out that way. And I tried, but yeah, the story demanded, like you mentioned, it just demanded, it's not going to go that way. But that's okay. Still a great story. With Symphony of Secrets, the original title was going to be The Composer's Last Score, but the my editors figured that the alliteration with Symphony of Secrets would just roll off the tongue better. And I got to say, I agree 100%. Believe it or not, it was very challenging for me to write because with the Violin Conspiracy, it was so deeply personal to me, and with Symphony of Secrets, it was an entirely different set of characters, same universe, but just completely different. And I had so many different directions that I could have gone in, and just narrowing it down and choosing which way to go. It was tough for me, but I grew to absolutely love the characters, and I love the story. I love it. I put it down after I finished, after I put that last period. I didn't look at it for probably 5 months, just because you never know with the second book, you just have no idea. And after that length of time, I went back and looked at it and I read it. It's like, wow, this is actually pretty good. I'm enjoying this. I like it. Okay, I'm not going to beat myself up because it's not a Violin Conspiracy, but it's a great story, and I'm really proud of it.
Do you find now that you're working on your third novel that you're a fan of outlining or more winging it or something in the middle?
I am totally an outliner. It's got to be okay. This part, this part, this part, and then and I fill in as I go, and I have to change things around. But I actually have like books 3, 4, and 5. They're right up here, and I've written just the premises for them, and I'm really excited to actually get started working on them. And I wake up in the middle of the night. Okay, that's a great idea for a book. I'm going to put that down. This is a good thing. I'm going to add to this. And I used to make the mistake of I'll remember it in the morning, and never again. So I've lost a lot of good ideas, especially for songs and melodies and everything. It's like I should have remembered that. But yeah, everything is I have my whole little I got my file of book ideas, and my third book, which I'm about to start writing. I'm not allowed to say anything about it, but it's going to be very cool. And I've got like I said, the ideas for books 3, 4, and 5. They're already down and just ready. I'm ready to get started on them. My third book, which the working title right now is Dark Melody, I'm outlining it right now, and I'm going back and forth with if is it going to be a thriller, is it going to be a mystery. I'm trying to incorporate a lot of different elements from other things that I've written. I just want it to be interesting and page turning for everyone, and I can say that it involves hypnosis and a cellist. I can say that, and that's all I'm going to give for the third book until I've got my outline done and I sit down and start writing.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Finally, before we go, we understand that the Violin Conspiracy can be seen on a TV screen in the near future.
Sony snagged the rights to the Violin Conspiracy really early on, and they're actually putting a limited series together right now, and it's in the works. And I can't wait to see how it turns out. I'm really excited about it. I wish they had asked me to play Ray, but too much gray going on right here but we'll see.
Brennan, congratulations on all your success so far, and thanks again for taking out time to be on About the Authors TV.
Thank you, dude. Pleasure.